Alright, welcome to Tribulation 515, 2011. Today is Wednesday, April 11th, 2012. I want to give a big welcome to any of you that this is your first day of watching my personal testimony to the tribulation unfolding around me. Congratulations if you're finally opening your eyes to the dire situation and circumstances that we're all facing nowadays. It's never too late to join the tribulation. I seem to be having some technical difficulties, so I'm going to record this video to my computer and then upload it to YouTube. For some reason, using the live feed and upload doesn't seem to be working. It didn't work on my last video either. I'm not sure what's up with that. Today here in San Jose, it's another cold, wet, miserable day. It's raining. We got rain for the next 2 or 3 days. I was just watching our beloved President, Barack Obama, giving another us-them speech, talking about the Buffett rule, how rich people ain't paying their fair share. And, once again, I think, Obama, he's just speaking out of both sides of his mouth. He's a divider. And the country has never been more divided than it is right now. This country's never been in a weaker state than it is right now. And, this Warren Buffett rule, I don't know what Warren Buffett or Bill Gates or any of these excessively, rich people have to do with anything. And they got so much stinking money, they should just hand it over, cut a check for $20 billion to the government. But they don't. So just like all his bamboozling and Obama con jobs, the Warren Buffett rule is another smoke and mirrors ploy just to gin up some votes and to pit us against one another. And when I look around, Obama, I don't think he has America's best interests at heart. I don't think he is who he is. I think he's a big deceiver, a faker. He's disarming America both economically, spending us into oblivion. He's more than willing to cut any and all military options from missile defense systems to whatever, through the budget. They're cutting just, $500 billion, this huge amount that even Leon Panetta, his Secretary of Defense, said this is going to cripple us. And, it was Obama who, while the mic was still on, he leaned across to Russian President Medvedev. I can't even say the dude's name, man. But, nowadays, Putin is going to be taken over. But Obama leaned across to Medvedev, and he said, hey, man, don't worry. Once I'm elected, I'll do whatever the heck it is you guys want. So, you know what, he's on record, man, as having his own secret agenda, as not being straight up with the American people, man. And, right now, the world, thinks America is a joke. They think Obama's a joke. We got Syria just massacring people. We got the civil war. They're spilling out to the countries close to it, Turkey and down in Lebanon. And Obama's doing nothing. We got Iran pretty much on the verge of getting their nuclear weapon, and Obama's doing nothing. We got Iran working with Korea. They're about to test another nuclear bomb and fire a missile, and Obama's doing, once again, nothing. And, he does have a hidden agenda. He just met with the Muslim Brotherhood from Egypt. They're taking over, and that's not in the best interest of the United States. And, the Obama administration, their position was, hey, you know what, who are we to tell the Egyptian people, who they should have as their leader? And it's like, excuse me, just last summer you were telling them, hey, Mubarak's got to go. And you were telling the Libyans, hey, Gaddafi's got to go. So you know what, when it suits Obama's purposes, he'll tell anybody, hey, you got to go. So now all of a sudden, when extreme radical Muslim organizations are taking over countries, it's not our business to tell them anything. So, Obama is as duplicitous as can be, and, he's got a secret agenda, and I don't think it's looking out for the well-being of America. Even like in the the world of energy. Obama's been just conning us, trying to tell us he's creating green energy, which is a complete fake lie, algae, which is, decades away from being a fuel source. And at the same time, he's, cutting off drilling. And America is crippled, man. We're on our knees. Americans need to wake the hell up. And, if you listen to my stupid song, you know what? Vote for anybody but Obama, man. Because if he gets another term, you know what? This country is finished. Kaput. That's all there is to that, But, there's crazy stuff happening all around the world. The extreme weather continues. Today we had 3 huge earthquakes, a 6.0 and 2 8.2 and an 8.0 over in the Indonesia area. And you know what? All that stuff's going to get worse. Because we got huge earth and solar system changes coming this year. And the government is covering all that up. I'm going to go into a little more detail over in Operation End Times with my Venus conspiracy. But, we're just at the tip of the iceberg of what's about to be unleashed upon the world. And, our president is Mr. Clueless. And, in general, most people in the world are walking around with their heads in the sand. And, some people have been sending me inputs, and I welcome all your inputs, but, that doesn't mean I'm going to agree with them. But a lot of people are like, hey, man, things are good. Good times are here. Woohoo! You know what? Good times ain't here. The stock market dropped several hundred points over the last couple of days. It's all smoke and mirrors. People that got their retirement funds and all their savings and investments tied up in the stock market, you're going to end up with nothing, man, because there's no stability in that stock market, man. You'd be crazy to put your money into the stock market, man. That's just Bill Gates and Warren Buffett getting richer. So while Obama says they ain't paying their fair share, Obama's only thing he could point to say good times are here is the stock market, where his buddies, Warren Buffett and Bill Gates, are making so much money that they only got, and it's in the stock market, because that's where you only pay 15% is when you're investing. So once again, Obama, he's all smoke and mirrors, and you can't believe a word he says, man. So that just once again shows the dire situation that the world is in, because we got the most powerful man in the world that is a liar. Let me repeat it: liar, 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 pants on fire. Yeah. So anyway, we're kind of headed to more craziness. I think, the economic collapse is right around the corner. The war drums are pounding. And, on a earth-changing, galactic level, big things are coming, man. And, being prepared is only half the battle. And I do think you should have some emergency supplies, but all these people, like the government, building all these underground bases and whatnot, don't worry about that. Because if you go underground when this stuff happens, you're going to be sealed in your own tomb, man. So, you know what? That's not even part of the equation for surviving. Once again, I wish I had something bright and sunny to talk about, but there's very little of that. I don't know. I feel like, I'm just getting repetitive, but, I just think, we're at a point where the tribulation is going to be, everything we've seen so far is nothing, and, it's really going to get crazy, and, my instincts are telling me, that it's going to be life-altering. And, what I'll tell you is, a lot of people are predicting different things. And, there's going to be an alternate solution. But, one of the big things out there nowadays is we must all be one. Like, if we all meditate, if we all put our minds together, we can avert doom and disaster. And you know what, I'm going to tell you, that's another false premise. And I don't have a problem with the whole world being one in love, helping one another, loving one another. But this whole, collective, cosmic mind thing, that if we all meditate and elevate our subconsciousness to where we somehow can generate a force shield or something to protect the earth, that's all a bunch of baloney. Like, that's not going to happen. That's just leading down the path to doom, to get your mind distracted from where it really needs to be, so that when the time comes that you need to do what you need to do to actually transit this whole tribulation, you know what? You're going to be sitting there meditating with a bunch of other idiots as the whole world crashes down around you. But there is going to be a path, a way to get through all this. And once again, that's over on Operation End Times. But I thought I'd just kind of, get a blog out there. These huge earthquakes in Indonesia. The volcanic activity around the planet is still off the charts. And, I just think, we're at a point, like with this, Zimmerman thing in Florida, we're at a point where, there's going to be a straw that breaks the camel's back. And we're also at a point where it's just like World War II when Hitler was doing all the propaganda. We got NBC, editing footage to create racial divide, and that's what they did. And now, maybe George Zimmerman deserves some jail time, I don't know, but that guy is, fearing for his life. He's got a bounty out on his head, and yet we got our president and our Attorney General, Eric Holder. They're not doing anything to control or protect or keep, society stable. They're letting guys like Al Sharpton and Jesse Jackson gin up the hatred, and that's what this election, is going to be all about, is dividing, everybody into us and them. And that's why I say this whole unity, one consciousness thing, that's a big waste of time, because it ain't never going to happen. The real story as we escalate into this tribulation is going to be the knocking of heads of the us and them, the good versus the evil. And that's the only thing you got to figure out, is where your heart lies, whether you're a part of the good or whether you got some kind of sinister motivation, if you're personally motivated by greed, or if, some people think they're doing good, but they're just deceived and they're actually, it's kind of like if you were working for some company, like I worked for Apple, which I thought was a great company, but in the long run, they're doing some things that aren't quite right, as far as using slave labor and whatnot. So, a person worked for Apple, that doesn't mean they're evil. They think they're doing something positive, but the greater picture might be that they're working for something that's kind of sinister, So I think that's kind of where it's at. You got to know where your heart's at, but then you got to be able to step back from the forest and see the trees and understand whose team you're on. It's a little bit like the Star Wars saga, where it became kind of muddy on what side was the good side and what side was the bad side. But, the one thing I can tell you is if the side you're on is building a pyramid of power and there's some fool at the top, telling you how it is, kind of like Obama, not good. The good side doesn't have a huge pyramid. It just has a one layer. There's just people and then a higher power. That's the good side, man. All right. Well, anyway, we'll see, what happens. The tribulation continues. I'm kind of searching for a job still. Don't really have high hopes about all that. We got the Supreme Court decision coming down in June. That's basically going to be a major power shift. And then, of course, we got all the astrological and signs happening in the skies that I think, today's triple earthquake in Indonesia is once again, all the evidence we need that something is happening. And, you know, I think the government and NASA, they're covering up whatever they need to cover up, you know, because they're not going to tell us the truth either, you know. All right. Keep your eyes open. Keep your mind open. Don't drink the Kool-Aid. All right. Take it easy. Get your tribulation on.